just not like regular school. Hey, I'm Ronnie Lambeth, and this is the School of Wealth. Hello and welcome to the show. Today I have some cool dudes coming from my good friend Brad Lee. We have Alejandro and Eric with a K. These guys are from freetesla.tv, and today we're going to talk about how you, my friends, can have a free Tesla. Drive a Tesla for free. So let's get into it, shall we, guys?
Let's do it. You can also drive multiple Teslas for free.
Multiple Teslas.
Not just one.
Cool. You know, when we were talking on the phone a couple weeks ago, did I tell you about my friend Jesse with the BMWs?
Yes. Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. So I've seen this in real action. He did a BMW X5. So he's got 10 of them, and he makes about $100,000 a month with his 10 free cars. So let's get to know you guys. Alejandro, you're from Colombia.
Yes, sir.
Pronounce your last name. I said I wasn't even going to attempt it because I'm going to butcher it. So
in Spanish, it's Agudelo. In English, it's Agudelo. So Agudelo.
Cool. And then Eric, what was your last name?
Collazo.
Okay.
It's an Italian last name. Forget about it.
Yeah. There you go. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can see these are pretty young dudes. If you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, and all the rest of those things, you can't see them, but they're young. What are you guys, 22?
I'm 22, yes.
Well, 22? Let me ask you this. How old do I look?
Man, I don't know. You look like you're 28, 29.
I'm 33, so that's not bad.
There you go.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. How old do I look? I tell people I'm 59.
My wife still thinks I'm 33, though.
Yeah, there you go. So tell me about you guys' stuff, Alejandro. How'd you guys get started? How'd you meet? What's your business?
So I met Eric through real estate investing. We opened up a community here in South Florida where we show investors we show people how to become real estate investors.
Okay.
And so, I specialize in fix and flips. We transitioned over to lease options. We've done some commercial deals, but we're heavily focused on real estate investing. The way we came up with freetesla.tv, which I'm sure Eric will get into more detail, is we went to a conference in Atlanta and we needed to rent a vehicle there was like 8 or 9 of us. So we needed to rent, I believe it was a Tahoe or a Yukon, one of those big trucks. And when we were there for like 4 days, we ended up spending like $500 on that Yukon. And then Eric was like, why don't we start a business doing the same thing? There's opportunity here. I mean, we're doing well in real estate. Why not just, start a little side hustle and do the same exact principles we utilize in real estate, use them with vehicles instead. So kind of double dipping on both realms, on both spectrums.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we came up with freetesla.tv. He said, what vehicle can we do this with? And he thought of a Tesla, since Teslas, they don't consume gas. You don't need to change the oil. You don't need to change the spark plugs. You don't need to change the radiator. So there's very, very low maintenance on that vehicle, but it yields such a high return. So that's why it was such a lucrative vehicle, just like the i8, like your friend does. An i8 is an electric vehicle. So again, it's also low maintenance. So it's that same exact concept, a great asset class that has low maintenance and high returns.
And it's a car people want to drive. Exactly.
It's a super sought after car.
And also,
you guys ever heard of exotic car hacks?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a member of Exotic Car Hacks, and guys are always trying to hack Teslas, and you can't hack a Tesla.
Elon Musk definitely will not allow that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and it's because Tesla's really, it's not an exotic or even a luxury car. It's a piece of technology. Is really what it is.
Correct.
So
computer on wheels.
Yeah. So after that, Eric, before I rudely interrupted you. What were you saying?
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
That's what happens when you get in your 30s, man. You just lose it.
I was saying that for a low investment like what we bring to the table, I mean, dude, you're going to learn not only how to get free Teslas, you're going to learn how to build a business and scale a business. See, in the real estate, realm, people think that you need millions of dollars to get started. And you don't. You just need the right knowledge. So same with free Teslas. I mean, if we give you the right knowledge, you're going to be able to apply it without using your own money, without using your own credit. You could get these vehicles on the road and start producing cash and start a business. You know, that's what we believe in.
Yeah. So freetesla.tv is your business of teaching people how to get the free Teslas. So it's a program. And that's
virtual
probably
training, correct.
Yeah, virtual training. Are you using Lightspeed for that?
We are using Lightspeed.
Yeah, so that's why you guys were out in Las Vegas with the Bradmeister.
That's right, the BL.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of programs out there that are, you know, they're just video based and they're just speaking to a camera. We wanted something, especially with Free Tesla. We understand the dynamic of the business, and we wanted something more interactive, engaging, something that we can really understand the audience, and the audience can also understand us. So,
Yeah, and that's the nice thing with using Lightspeed is it's interactive, and you can track it, and you can go down a million different rabbit holes, and it's by far the best training platform out there, right?
100%.
Why you guys use it?
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about the program. Like, how do people get started with it? What's it cost? You know, some examples of stuff in there.
So right now we have a pre-launch discount at $197.
Okay.
And pretty much what the virtual training outlines is we first get into, you know, introducing ourselves. Who's Alejandro? Who's Eric? Why did we start freetesla.tv? How can this work for you? And then we go into our case study, which pretty much we go over our Tesla and how that Tesla is producing income without neither Eric or myself spending any money out of pocket. We raised the capital. We found an investor who put the down payment, and we put it on a sharing economy where it's now generating monthly income, right? Then after we talk about the case study, you know, we go over into how to analyze a market, because just because it works for us in South Florida, that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll work in, you know, Oklahoma or something, you know what I mean, or Tennessee. Yeah. So we show you how to analyze your market, because for that exact reason, you may have to open up a market elsewhere. You know, maybe in Houston, it might not work, but in Dallas, it will. So we show you how to do that. We show you how to draft up a business plan, which is, you know, what you were saying earlier, how you have an investor who wouldn't invest unless he has a business plan, a strategy plan, a marketing plan, all that. So we literally show you how to do that as well. It includes a prospectus, a pro forma, you know, expressing what concerns an investor may have and how to answer those concerns appropriately. So we go into major details on how to formulate the correct business plan. Then after that, you know, we just pretty much go over, you know, insurances. We go over pretty much everything you need to know on how
everything
to
from start to finish.
Business. Start to finish,
how to run
exactly. And it's not just what to do, but how to do it as well. Because that's another thing. A lot of people just say, "Oh, go do this," and you can go there and do that. But okay, well, how do I really do it? What are the mechanics behind it? Like, what do I need to do? How do I need to speak? You know, when it comes to raising capital, how do I manage the conversation? How do I guide the conversation instead of just saying, just go out there and raise capital?
Yeah.
You know, that's what a lot of programs end up doing, and then people get lost.
I think
so that's kind of what we wanted to do differently.
Rondi, I think what you said earlier was super, super important. You mentioned a young gentleman who invests in different companies as long as they have their things together, as long as they have their ducks in a row, right? But the problem is with our school system, the way our school system is designed, you don't learn this stuff in high school. You don't learn this stuff in middle school, and you definitely don't learn it in college.
Yeah.
What tends to happen is people leave the school system into the world of business, and they don't have a freaking clue on what to do. So we wanted to come up with something that, number one, is affordable. Number two, anybody can pay attention, because, I mean, you got two handsome guys who could deliver content like nobody's business.
You know,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's really cool about it is this is not just a program that you guys are pitching and you're making your money from your program. This is something you guys have done, and you've done it for a while, and you're actually making money at it. And you've just decided to take your and you're doing well, right? And so you've taken your expertise and put it in a platform where you're teaching people, not just making money selling shit that you sell shit that you make money from selling shit. You know, like the notorious person that is Ty Lopez. Yeah. You know, he makes his money teaching people how to make money.
So kind of what we were going after is, I'm sure you heard this term, you know, sharing is caring. And you've also heard, you know, information is power. So just imagine what sharing information does. So that's exactly what we're doing. You know, we've applied this, we're doing it actively, and we want to share it with the world, you know, and not only just the United States, but you can also do this in England. You can do this in Germany. You can do this in Canada. So you can even create an international business. That's just a great thing. You have options. It could either be a little side hustle because you have a job right now, or you have 2 jobs, so you just want to make an extra $200 to $300 a month. You can start a local business. So if you're in, you know, Los Angeles, you can have a fleet of vehicles in Los Angeles, or you can even go international and open up different markets throughout the United States and in other countries as well. So we want to kind of cater to everybody.
Hey, Ron,
That's good. My friend Jesse started with one BMW X5 and in Seattle, and it took a year to pay it off. And then he bought a second one. It took 6 months. Then he bought a third one. It took 3 months. Bought his fourth one. Was paid off in 30 days. Now he's got 10 of them rolling in cash, 100 grand a month. He then left Seattle, flew to Hawaii, and he lives now in Hawaii, and his cars are all in Seattle, and he's got an office manager, and, you know.
There you go.
So, and I personally know him. I've known Jesse since 2008, and he used to own a credit repair company. That's how I knew him. And so I know this process of work. No one ever taught him, though. So the fact that you guys are teaching and how to do it, and how to do it with no money out of your own, of your personal money, using other people's money, and no credit, which is good.
Yeah. So I mean, it goes back to like having that lifestyle, you know, and having a business that provides for the lifestyle. A lot of people think that, you know, when you're getting into business, you got to work 18 hours a day and you got to hustle.
Yeah.
And it's, look, at the beginning, yes, you do got to hustle and you do got to work hard, but eventually you don't want to work in the business. You want to work on the business, and you want the business to pay you like a business, while you still get to enjoy the lifestyle of traveling with your family and spending quality time with your kids. Or even if you don't have those, you know, if you don't have kids in a family, well, if you're just a single person and you want to go out there and travel and visit different exotic locations, you could still have this business in different parts of the world, not just the country. So I love that.
Have you read E-Myth by Michael Gerber?
E-Myth, no.
Yeah, check out that book, E-Myth. Michael Gerber. He's a personal friend of mine. He's become a friend since reading it. I read that back when I was in my 20s. Incredible book. And then another one is called Profit First. Have you guys read that one?
I have not read Profit First either.
I talk about books a lot on my show.
I just haven't. I haven't read it.
Well, and the reason I brought that up, Eric, is because you were quoting him, you know, multiple times, that you're working on the business, not in the business. And it's something that, you know, I teach people every day, is how to become entrepreneurs and how to work on a business and actually own a business versus what most people do, own a job. You know, they're specialists. Yeah. And the whole ESBI from Robert Kiyosaki, most people just trade their time. You know, specialists are self-employed, just they make more money per hour than, you know, a W-2 Walmart worker. But it's interesting. So have you guys always been in business? I know you're 22, Alejandro, right? 22?
Yes, I'm 22. So I started selling. I wasn't always in business. I mean, when I was a kid, I would sell my old toys to other kids in my after-school program. Okay. It wasn't like a business. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I didn't even know what business was. I was just 7 years old, and I didn't want to ask my parents for money for toys. So I would just sell my old ones to get new ones.
Okay.
I did the same thing in high school, sold candy, sold soda, sold water, you know, out of my backpack, because I wasn't allowed to really sell since clubs do that, like book clubs and the sports. So I did that until I got in trouble. So then I stopped. And then I was going to go into UCF. I decided that I didn't want to go into UCF anymore because I wanted to stay down here in South Florida. Because during that time, while I was going to move out of my parents' house to go to UCF, I met, for the first time ever in my entire life, I met people who had the same values that I had, especially when it came to entrepreneurship. Like, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was until I met them. I didn't know it was a thing. I was just wanting to make money for myself because I didn't want to ask my parents for money. So when I met them, it was like a multi-level marketing company. I did that for about 8 or 9 months. And then I realized that, what's that?
Which one?
It's called Worldwide Dream Builders.
Okay.
So they kind of partner with Amway. So it was kind of that realm of business. And then I decided that that's not the business that I really want to run. I want to actually feel like I'm hustling instead of just, you know, going out there and talking to people and, you know, doing that type of business. So, and I started my real estate business March 2017. I started first wholesaling from a list that a previous investor used to give me. Started making money like that. And then through real estate investing, I was able to leave my last job, which was at a restaurant. It's called Texas de Brazil. And that was September 2018. So ever since September 2018, I've been a full-time real estate investor, full-time, doing whatever I want, really. I don't have a job. I don't want to say chill, but because I do work on the business, I work on my businesses, but I do have enough time to spend with my family, to spend with my girlfriend, to spend with my pets, because I don't have kids right now. But that's the goal, because I always said that I wanted to be a full-time dad. Like when somebody asks you, oh, what do you do? I don't want to say engineer, like, oh, I'm an engineer, or, oh, I'm a doctor. I want to say, I'm a full-time husband. I'm a full-time father. Like, that is what I want my answers to be. So that's kind of, my story. So I wasn't always in business. I just had that mindset and just developed it over time through meeting people.
You brought up Amway, and I joined Amway at 18 years old. I think every single person should join an MLM. Everybody should learn sales and learn personal development. And I truly believe, because of where I'm at today, or because of MLMs and personal development, which is why I talk about books so much and audiobooks and podcasts and seminars, it was because of the MLMs that got me to work on myself. And because of that, I'm where I'm at. Like, I'm the only one in my family that's successful for the most part. And you know what? The only thing I do differently, we all grew up in the same house, no running water, no electricity, eating out of a dumpster. We all exactly the same way. I'm the only one that does personal development. I'm the only one that reads every single day. And so I think Amway is great. The funny thing, you said Worldwide Dream Builders. That was actually the team I was on.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
And I'm trying to remember the diamond that I used to go at his house all the time. He lives in Colorado Springs in Hawaii.
I forgot. But my diamond was Brad Duncan.
How?
If you remember him.
Yeah, I personally know Brad.
Brad Duncan. Yeah. Yep. That was my diamond.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that statement that if it wasn't for MLMs, I wouldn't have had a successful real estate business, because before MLMs, I was more of kind of like the shy introvert type of person. And through working with Worldwide Dream Builders, that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I mean, you're talking to random people at the bookstore, at Walmart, at Publix, and that's really uncomfortable. And then when I transitioned into real estate, I was knocking on doors. So I feel like I would have been too scared to have done that if it wasn't for me being in an MLM first. So I do agree with that statement. I do think everybody should join an MLM, even if it's for a little bit, or it is a business that you really want to run, because that's
a great
really
business if you run it
out of your comfort zone. For sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. If you run it.
I'm friends with Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady. They built the largest team inside of Amway. They represented 80% of all the sales. Orrin has the largest estate in Florida on the East Coast. Enormous estate in northern up by Daytona. But anyway, so Eric, have you always been an entrepreneur?
Yes. So a lot of people say you're born with this. It's DNA. A lot of people say that it's taught and developed. I kind of feel like there's a combination of things to make you a true entrepreneur. A lot of it does have to do with your background. I do believe that as well. I grew up in Miami Beach. I was born in Miami. Both of my parents grew up, we grew up poor. I mean, we grew up not broke, like my parents were like middle class. We grew up poor. And what I mean by poor is like we had roaches in our apartment. I remember there was times where I would pour cereal into my bowl before school, and I would have to make sure, look around and make sure there's no roaches crawling in my cereal. That's how broken, we grew up. So my family, came here from Cuba in Miami, and, I was created and I just was a very poor student. I was high energy. I had a lot of energy. And I just could not sit in a classroom and listen to somebody teach me and lecture me all day on things that I have no interest in. So it was very hard for me growing up because everybody expected so much. I was an only child, and everybody thought that I was going to be the big winner and go to college and have these massive degrees and be a lawyer and a doctor. And little did they know, by fourth grade, I was making straight F's.
Yeah.
So then out of high school, I kind of dropped out of high school because my dad was going through some financial trouble. my dad was saying, hey man, look, you got two choices right now. You're 17 in 10th grade, which is clearly a problem. You're about to be an adult and you're a sophomore. Like, dude, I don't know what's going on here. And your GPA is 0.001. So clearly the numbers are not adding up. So you can either drop out of school and pay rent and go get a job, or you can leave. That's what my dad had a real heart to me, with me as a man, like what a man should do with his child that's not doing things that they need to do. Right. Mm-hmm. So, I dropped out. I said, okay, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to help my dad. I'm going to follow his footsteps, blue collar worker, getting paid very little for trading hardcore labor. Right. And, I was just kind of sick and tired of that. I knew that there was something out there because I got a job at a marina and I was cleaning boats, and I'm talking about nice 40-footer, 50-footer boats. And I'm cleaning these things and detailing these things. And I'm asking the owners, hey, what do you do for work? And they're like, well, we don't work. We buy real estate and we own businesses. Mm-hmm. So that's what planted the seed for me. I was like, damn, these guys are business owners and they're real estate investors. That's how they're making their money, right? So I found a mentor. I was looking and searching for opportunity. I found a mentor. He was able to take me under his wing. And I had to pay a handsome $20,000 to this gentleman so he can teach me some things, which I didn't have. My dad didn't have. Nobody in our family had any money. So I had to literally go out there and raise the capital. I was able to find out how my dad was putting money away in his retirement account. Based on the investors I was working with, they were pulling money out of their retirement account and buying real estate. So I just did the same thing with my dad. I said, why don't we borrow against your retirement, fund the business? And that first year, we made $259,000 in our business. And I was able to retire my dad. I was only 20 years old.
Wow.
I made $250,000. I was able to retire my father out of his full-time job. And man, it was a beautiful experience. But then he passed away 3 years later. Mm-hmm. So he only had 3 years of financial freedom. That was his, that was what I saw. I was like, dude, I do not want my family to go through this. I don't want my family to just have me full-time 3 years. So it was a very big lesson for me. And I took entrepreneurship really serious. I took business ownership really serious. And I started to scale my business. And real estate has been a vehicle that has appreciated and just paid us tremendously well over the years. So we're very grateful. I'm very grateful from where I came from to what I've been able to build today for my family.
Yeah, and that's really key that you experienced that as a kid, that you figured out that the way to real wealth is real estate and businesses. It's pretty difficult to get there with the W-2 job. My good friend Ed Milet, do you guys know who Ed is?
Yes. I've seen him on Instagram, I think.
Yeah. So he's my business partner in my financial services company, and not the credit one, but the other one. And, he barely got out of high school. He wanted to play professional sports, grew up middle class, alcoholic father. And he's been a W-2'd employee. Well, he's been a W-2'd paid business owner in primarily insurance. And he's worth about $500 million right now. He'll be a billionaire within the next 10 years, just on track. He's got it mainly in real estate and developing people and developing businesses. And the reason I got involved with him is because I think it's the greatest business out there, and it fits what I do with money and retirements and insurance and all that. But, you don't have to graduate high school. I say this all the time, that it's only important if you didn't. Nobody's ever asked me once for my high school diploma, because I got one, barely. I had all D's and one F, and I missed 180 of my 220 days my senior year. But look at Brad. Look at my good friend Brad Lee, our friend, right? Brad never graduated high school. Now, I'm not saying you should drop out. I think everybody should graduate, and because I think it's a way to accomplish something, especially at that age, you need to. But if you didn't, and you're 33 now, and you're using that as an excuse, get over it, right? Move on. Use it as fuel. Brad brags about not graduating high school.
Well, so do I. I brag about it all the time, because everybody I know was like, oh, I'm going to college and I'm doing this, and you're not doing shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, man, I'm working on something big here, and you might not see it right now. You might not see it today, and it might take some time, but I can promise you, when you do see me, you're going to remember that I was a high school dropout. And, I had this conversation a lot with a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, you should never say that. You should never tell people they should drop out of school. Well, I'm not going to be a part of the problem. I'm going to be a part of the solution, especially being an American, right? So that's what I represent. I represent freedom. And if you feel like you're tied down to a system that does not serve your purpose, then get out of the system. Now, I'm not saying if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want something that requires for you to have a degree, then go do that. But let me tell you something, man. If you believe in achieving something that does not require those things, and you want to just be free enterprise is what this country was built on, and I support that. Listen, my family are immigrants. I know what I know where I came from. Like I saw it growing up. So for me to sit here and tell you that you do not need, because a lot of people think that that's their mindset. I need to do this. No, you deserve better, and you deserve a better way of thinking. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Man, I'm so excited
that,
to
like,
see
the
where you
American
guys go.
system. What's that?
I said, I'm so excited to see where you guys go.
Appreciate it. We're growing together, all three of us.
Yeah.
But to add to what Eric was saying regarding the American system, the issue that the government has imposed is because, how do I explain this? Okay, the issue is that when you're in school, you're taught only to go out there and get a job. That's the only thing you're taught, right? Because even when I was doing dual enrollment in high school, I had a business class. And the professor who was in that class for my dual enrollment, she was a business teacher, but she was telling us how to run the books for other companies. It wasn't for our own company. So that's the issue, because the American system fits better for those who are business owners, right? Whether it's a LLC, S corporation, or C corporation. Those three entities, that is what the American system favors over the W-2 employee. For example, I'm Colombian. I come from Colombia. The Colombian system favors the employee more than it does the business owner. The business owner in Colombia is automatically going to get taxed 30%, no matter what type of business it is. It could be restaurants. It could be real estate. You can have one employee. You could have 30 employees. It doesn't matter. So that's why a lot of people don't become business owners in Colombia, because the system doesn't favor that. But people don't know that the American system doesn't favor employees, because they were raised from when they were 5 years old in kindergarten that once you finish high school, you have to go to college, and then you have to go get a job, because you need to afford a mortgage. You need to be able to qualify for that. You need to get, a car for you and your wife. You got to, raise your kids. So you need to make money. And the only way you're taught to make money is to work for someone else. So that's where I see the main issue being. If we could have more classes in high school talking about entrepreneurship, like true entrepreneurship, not the running the business for other people, but how to run your own business. Like, for example, a lot of people don't even know what a prospectus is, a pro forma, a profit and loss statement. Like, they don't know those things unless they take like an accounting class, a balance sheet. Exactly. So if we're able to kind of lean towards that direction, like, that's the major goal that I have, open up a school later in life, when I meet the right people to be able to open up a school like that, like, to teach kids like how to run a business. Like, you can be 10 years old and still run a business. Like, you can have your parents co-sign on the LLC. You see what I mean? Like, for example, like, Eric, your son has his own debit card through his own company, right? People don't know how to do that. Your son owns real estate.
It's a family. Wait, just in case the IRS is watching, dude, I want to just make sure we're clear. It's a family. Because you said something dangerous there. It's a family management company, okay? And yeah, my son is a part of that family management company. He's 5 years old, but hey, look, he takes papers from the fax machine. He cleans up the office. He has a little portfolio with us through certain ways of doing it. And if you know business ownership, you know how to shelter your money and protect your money. Even your 5-year-old can have some real estate, just like mine does, man.
You know how many business owners don't know that?
So many.
I mean, it's one of my courses. I teach how to create a business, how to lower your tax burden to a zero tax bracket. And I had a meeting last night with a guy. He's making $2 million a year. It's a doctor, and he runs it as a business. He's got 4 kids, and all the kids work for him, but he doesn't pay him. He didn't know he could pay his kids $13,000 a year to deduct it through the business, and the kids don't pay the tax.
Legally.
Exactly.
He's like, I didn't know I could do that.
Majority of people don't know. And not only that, people see my son swipe his little debit card and dude, people go crazy. They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, and my kids were on salary their whole lives. I never once gave my kids allowance. I never bought my kids clothes. I never bought my kids food. I never paid for gymnastics or karate. They paid for it because they were on salary for my construction company, and they worked, and my kids still work for me.
But just like you said that doctor making $2 million a year does not know these things. How come a 33-year-old or a 22-year-old knows?
Yeah.
We took different education, man.
You're going after self-education, which is improved. It's important because we're not taught anything about money in school. What we're taught is go to school, get good grades, so you go to college, get good grades so you can get a good job, and then you can keep up with the Joneses, right?
Exactly, because you see your friend got a nice car, so now you're talking to your wife, and you're like, babe, we need to get a nicer car, and now you put yourself in more debt, and then your friend got a nicer house, so you're like, babe, we need to get a nicer house, so now you're putting yourself in more debt. That's just the system that we're put in.
And people don't realize, and I say it all the time, that the W-2 employee, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being an employee. I have them. They're great. The world would not work without them. Just some people aren't made to be entrepreneurs. And there's many days, like multiple times a day, that I wish I was a W-2 employee. I'm envious sometimes that they get to go home at the end of the day and check out, or clock out, right? We never clock out. And people that talk about having a balanced life, that's for employees, man. That's not for entrepreneurs. And I truly believe that. I don't think it's possible to live a balanced life. And what I mean by that is, I think if you're married, that when you're home, you should be 100% committed to your family, not balanced, not 50% work and 50% your wife. It's 100% your wife, 100% your kids or your girlfriend or whatever. And when you're at work, it's 100% business and nothing about the kids. You can't be balanced. Now, with that, you have balance in there with your exercise and all that other stuff that I've talked about a million times on the show. So, you guys are smart, man.
I love what you just said, man. I love that there's no balance because it's so true. Like there's times where in my first 4 years in my business, I worked 18 hours a day. And people never knew, did not know that I'm out
7 days a week.
7 days. I tell people this all the time. If you're an entrepreneur, the only one that deserves a day off is God because he created the world. Us guys, we need to, us entrepreneurs, we need to work 7 days a week, man, because it builds this strength and discipline,
Mm-hmm.
But even now, I got 2 kids, I got my wife, I got my family, and I'm so blessed and so grateful that I have a partner. And this is another thing is finding a partner who not only just supports you, because anybody can support you. Like being supportive is, people support the president. Like that don't mean shit. But what you want is somebody who's in it with you, who believes and willing to invest with you and in you. Not only just to support you, you want somebody who's willing to invest all the way. Everything they have, they're willing to put it inside of what you believe in. See, that to me, like my wife, man, I'm telling you right now, like there's times like Vegas, like we just discussed this. I left for Vegas for 5 weeks. That's intense, man. My wife had to carry, the house for 5 weeks. That's a long time for a husband to be away from home. Not once did my wife sit here and start issues with me and, oh, what are you doing at this time of night? And none of that. She was supportive. She believed in my process. And when I came back, I was celebrated. I was not tolerated. And that, to me, that is just such a blessing, man. So finding a partner.
Were you there recording? Is that what you're doing?
We were there recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were also developing. It was more of, it's not just we went there real quick, recorded. We had to develop the free Tesla model. There was a lot of things that we had to create and develop. So we stayed out there longer than anticipated, but that's the thing. My wife was behind it all, man. And that's a beauty. That's a beautiful thing.
5.5 weeks with Mr. Bradley. That's intense.
There's a lot you can learn, man. I'm telling you.
I never recorded well, that's not true. I did record a couple times at his studio. And I ended up just building out my own studio and green screen room because, man, I could never get anything done. I would go in and this employee would grab me out. Hey, Rondi, how do I get a credit card? This one would grab me. How do I buy a house with a 400 credit score? And so finally, Brad, I said, Brad, I can't keep coming back here, man. I'm spending 6-7 hours with your employees. And he's like, yeah, I don't want you coming back because they're spending all this time with you, not working.
I love that. Well, that's a great segue. I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit, and I've been doing a lot of research on your systems, and everybody knows you and who you are and what you built with credit repair, and I love that. But man, I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit about automation, because I see your business is like completely automated. I'm getting messages from your staff. I'm getting emails. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting phone calls, and they're not like, it's not overload. It's welcoming. So I just kind of want to ask you, how did you develop such a system where everything is completely automated? Because I see you, man. I see you, you're out on Instagram doing things, and I got your people just like hitting me up, and I love that. So how do you do that? What was that process like?
Yeah, it took me a long time to develop that. And just even yesterday, I spent 5.5 hours in a chair and I didn't move. And I got up, my legs finally went to sleep because I was programming a new automation system, and I use Infusionsoft. So when I'm in there, man, I'm in there and nothing disturbs me. And so remember I talked about that book, E-Myth?
Mm-hmm.
So get that book, E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I think that's the second most important book to own as an entrepreneur. The first important, and Mike, if he hears this, he's going to kill me when I see him next week, would be Profit First. I think Profit First is the number one book all business owners should read, because very, very few businesses follow it. But in there, it talks about building systems. It's all about systems. That's what made McDonald's. McDonald's is Ray Kroc's system. It's not the damn food. It's garbage, right? It's a system where you can give us a manual to a teenager and the teenager can do it, right? You're building the system. So that's what I did. As I sat down and I mapped it all out, and I just started slowly adding on to my system. And that, I'll tell you, is my biggest flaw in my entire organization. Is it's only me that knows how to use the system, the automation part of it, because it's so complicated. Because you're right, I have staff members all over the world. They log into the system, they apply a tag, which then sends a text message from Salt Lake, which is our call center, which then tags the employee in Miami or employee in Vegas, and everything's automated through there. The only thing that's not automated is the actual data entry. Even my letters. I have tens of thousands of letters, and the way our software works is as we type in your name, it's auto creating a letter, and that one letter will be sent 30,000 times before the same letter is sent because of the way the software changes it. And so the reason it needs a change is the OCR machine, optical character recognition, is what the credit bureaus use. If they pick up on the same verbiage and the same letter, they'll flag it as a credit repair company and they kick it out of the system. And this is why when you hire someone like Lexington Law or creditrepair.com or Blue Sky or Ovation, this is why they charge you up front, and this is why they charge you monthly, because they get paid to try to fix your credit. My company gets paid on success. So they get a participation trophy. I actually get the gold medal, right? Mm. And then the clients win because there's no incentive for Lexington to ever fix your credit in a expedient way. Because if they fix your credit the first month, you stop paying them. So yeah. I created the system to automate everything except for when we create your account, because we customize it for your individual needs. If you're wanting to buy a house or what's actually on there, and we actually look at the credit report, we identify the mistakes, and then we pick the template letters that go with those mistakes that the credit bureaus are making.
I feel like this is really important for our users too, because a lot of the people that are coming through our system, of course, we're like telling everybody you could do this with no money and no credit of your own, but it does require money or credit from your investor.
From somebody.
Yeah. But what if you're like at the time, like let's say you do have a few vehicles, you're making some good money, you got some cash flow coming in, and you're like, you know what, it's time to build my financial house. I want to get my financial house in order, right? And this is why for me and Alejandro, it was so important to figure out who we're going to use and who do we want representing, working with Free Tesla, because freetesla.tv is not only a kick-ass system, but it's really helping change the quality of somebody's mindset and the way they operate their business. And then we're like, who do we use to help somebody? What if they're making good money, but they don't want to use investors anymore? They're tired of giving their money away. What if they build their own credit? What if they wanted to build their own, financial house and have an 800 score and build a fleet, right? How would they do that? Like starting from scratch. And I felt like just having you on board was such a blessing to us. Now going into that, like what is the steps for somebody, when they first look at this program and they say, okay, I want to get involved in Fortress, what do they have to do actually?
It's really pretty simple. They either go to the website, they go to your guys' website and they click on free consultation, put in their name, phone number, and email address, and then sit back and wait for us to call, or they can call us, right? And when I say sit back, once you're on that list, you ain't coming off the list. I promise you will get an email from me every 3 to 4 weeks for the rest of your life until you take yourself off that list. And they're not credit repair emails either. And so hardly anybody ever opts out of my email system. We send some really cool stories every 3 to 4 weeks out there. But, so you request a free consultation. We get on the phone with us, and the way our process works, pretty straightforward. First thing we got to do is look at your credit report. You don't own your credit report. You got to rent it. So we rent it from the bureaus. I actually own my own credit monitoring service, so I can pull it without doing a hard inquiry. It's $25. It's $25 for a 3-bureau report. From there, we're going to look at your credit, see what's on there.
I think somebody actually inquired today. Me and Alejandro were on Dropping Bombs, and our Dropping Bombs podcast was released today.
Oh, okay.
So we got a lot of people hitting us up, and there was one guy who was like, "Man, my credit is in the dumps. It's 500, score of like 500, but I'm really determined, And I felt like when this person reached out to me, I was like, "Man, I'm so glad that I was able to connect with you, and so we can help this guy. Like at 500, what are the opportunities for this individual at 500, man? Because that's a low score.
That is a very low score, and it's no big deal. The lower the better. The lower the score, the better it is for us, because the higher the score will go up. Someone comes to me with a 700, I'm done. They get a 740, 760. Someone comes with me with 511, now they got an 800. They appreciate me a lot more. Wow. 65% of your score has nothing to do with payment history. 65%. And all the other companies except for mine focuses exclusively on payment history, and they ignore the 65%. So that's why I use my Lightspeed is Fortress University. We educate people how many credit cards, why you never pay the Tesla loan off, why you don't do inquiries, throughout the whole year. You do it once a year. Why you need to have at least 3 credit cards. So we go over the 65% and we work on the 35%. But here's something that, your clients and students should know is not only can we help them with the personal credit, and if you listen to my show, that I do this, and I'm spending a little bit more time for you guys so you can share this podcast and share the interview with your folks. But not only can we help the guy with the 500 credit score get up into the 700s, and it usually takes us 3 to 6 months versus 3 to 6 years like some of the other companies, and you only pay on results. But we can show you how to build business credit. So you don't even have to use your personal credit. You can get the Teslas in your business name. They don't even show up on your personal credit. I just ordered the Ford Bronco. Have you guys seen that? The 4-door.
The 2020 or the 20? Is it 2021?
2021.
Yeah, that thing is big, man.
It's badass, right?
It is.
I didn't order it in my personal name. It's a company vehicle. That will be a company loan in Fortress's name, just like my other vehicles, my airplane.
Is it 6,000 pounds? Is that why?
No, because I just think it's cool and I wanted it. The 6,000 pound thing, you're thinking of Section 179 to rapid depreciate it the day you buy it. So like my Denali Duramax It's like $84,000. I put $1,000 down with my American Express, and I got an $84,000 write-off that day.
Wow.
It was in December. So that was 84 grand I didn't have to pay taxes on for 2018. And I bought it the last week in December. And that's because it's 6,000 pounds. The Bronco is going to be in the business name as well, but it may or may not. I can't remember if it qualifies for 179 or not.
Is the Badger also in the business name?
It's in the business, yeah. So
Right.
the Nikola Badger is going to be in the business name. I used my Capital One Venture card for that, and I got 10,000 reward points, which equivalents to $100 of free airfare.
Well, listen, man, if you want to buy another one and we can rent that one out, man,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out.
Just throwing it out there, huh? I might be one of your students. I got so much going on. I've hired 42 people since March. I cannot hire people fast enough. So I probably will not be taking on another.
I think you're actually hiring during this time while most people are losing work. You're actually bringing on people. Is that right?
I've hired 42 people since March 31st, and I cannot hire people fast enough. Like, I literally need to hire another 60 people by the end of the year.
Wow.
Just to keep up with the business that we have now. You know, one of the parts of the business is how to turn a couple $100 a month into a couple $100,000. And, you know, that's what I do in my evenings. That's what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going out to a friend's house. I grew up with him, elementary school. I'm going to show him, he's going to put $300 a month. And when he's 65, he'll have $400,000 of tax-free money in his retirement account. And people just don't. They're so ingrained and brainwashed that 401ks are the only way to go, and a good growth stock mutual fund that grows at 12%. It's not the way to do it, man. That's how you lose money. So, but that's how the credit repair process works. You know?
Fees, taxes, and inflation also.
Yeah. Fees. People don't know.
Inflation.
Taxes, inflation. I know I was explaining this to this doctor last night, and he was bragging about his retirement account, and I showed him the fees, and he's up 7% this year, right? 20-something% this quarter.
Jesus, man.
And I said, you know what this box here means? He's like, no. I said, that's the fees. And then this box right here, what's that? I said, that's the 1.5% that they're charging you every year for marketing. And inflation's 4%. So they're charging him 5.5 points to keep the money in there, 1.5 in marketing plus 4%. I said, you need to make 10% to break even. And you've made 7.66, which means you've lost 2.5% this year. And this is the greatest time on history for the stock market. And he's down 2.5%, and he thought he was winning. I'm like, dude, you are losing. So we're going to move that money out of his 401k into an account that never loses money, and it's tax-free.
What is that, self-directed Roth? You're talking about a self-directed?
I use self-directed Roth, but this is actually an IUL. So it's an IUL. So it has it never loses money, ever.
I love insurance, man.
Yeah, I know. Insurance is awesome, right? So
cash value, baby. You can pull it out and put it back in, baby.
Buy a Tesla with it if you want.
You're damn right.
That's the one thing you said earlier that I want to bring up with folks. Aside from maybe borrowing to buy a house, you really should avoid borrowing from your 401ks at all costs. Most people treat a 401k as a piggy bank. The reason why is when you borrow, like your dad, you said your dad borrowed from his 401k, right? Yeah. The reason why you want to avoid that is you pay double the tax. You're taxed twice.
Right.
That's why the IRS loves people to borrow from their 401k. You pay taxes twice. Yeah. So think about that. If you're a tax bracket of 30%, you're now tax bracket of 60%. Because when you borrow it, if you borrow it to start a business, you borrow it for reasons that you don't pay the 10% penalty, maybe buy a house or something. When you pay that back, you're paying it back with after-tax money. And when you pull it out when you retire, you're paying taxes. And let me ask you guys something. I know you're young. Do you think taxes will stay the same, go down, or go up in the future?
Go up 100%.
What do you think, Eric?
Well, I mean, I've seen the chart in the last 100 years, and I think we're at a very fair, especially for business owners, we're treated
Yeah.
very fairly. But I do think change is going to happen here, where people just like the market trends, change every so often. I think taxes are going to, I can't remember the year, but there's in the chart there's a year where the tax was like for the average person was like 50 to 60%, man.
Actually 90.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
was, it was, it was, during World War I and World War II, it was 90% for business owners. And it flip flopped in the 1950s to where employees started picking up the tab. And then it changed in the 1980s. And then again, it changed in 2017 with the Jobs Act. Here's the thing, taxes are going to go up.
Can you imagine if we went back just not even 90%, even at 40, 50%? I mean, it would be chaos.
Devastating. Yeah.
Well, that's why people are leaving California. For the last 10 years, they've had a negative growth.
Correct.
Which means
people don't know how to
more people are leaving than going in, right?
But people don't know how to multiply money. And I think that's one of the biggest concerns. Like, people don't know how to go out and create, so I really hope our course helps people do that. And especially everything that you teach. I know that you are a big advocate on multiplying cash.
Got to multiply. You don't need to know how to do addition or subtraction. It's multiplication, baby.
Multiply.
Yeah. So here's the thing: with the reason I asked you that is if taxes are going to go up, why do tax professionals tell us to pay our taxes down the road? Why not get it over with? Do you want to pay tax on the $10 bag of seed or the $1 million harvest when that seed turns into an orchard?
You want to pay it on the $10 seed.
Exactly. But everybody pays it on the harvest. Why? Because the IRS, the IRS, they want their share. They're by far the worst business partner you can have. They get 30 to 50% of everything. They put nothing in. They have no responsibility. You take all the risk. You do all the work. And they want 30%. And if they want more money, they just raise your taxes anytime they want. So one of the things we teach is stop paying on the harvest, pay it on the seed. Put a couple $100 a month away in your retirement account, the accounts that we set up for people, and pay the tax on the couple $100. And when it turns into a couple 100,000, it's tax free. Just like a Roth. Roth is a tax advantage. There's some disadvantages though. You guys weren't going to qualify for a Roth. You make over 120 grand a year, so you can't qualify for a Roth. And then you can only put $5,000 or $6,000 a year into it versus our funds. You can put $6,000 a month.
But the insurance, however, we can start insurance policies since you were a child. You could actually start.
On that 5-year-old.
Well, you see, I'm a little educated.
Yes, you are. Man, I could talk here with you guys for hours.
Yes, we can.
It's so great. Do you guys got any free gifts that you can give to my folks I can put in the show notes?
Actually, yeah. So I'll do a free 15-minute coaching session.
Cool. Yeah.
On how to raise capital for anybody who wants to give us a call. My number is 561-418-0072. And I'll do a 15-minute free coaching on how to raise capital. It could be from your grandma. I will help you raise capital from anybody. It could be from a stranger at Starbucks. In those 15 minutes, I will change your life. I promise you.
Very cool. So we'll put that in the show notes. I would be prepared for
your money back.
Yeah, your money back of the free, right? That's so funny. People ask me all the time on the credit repair, and they ask my staff, like, what's the guarantee? Well, the guarantee is you will never pay me unless I get something deleted. Well, do I get my money back? No, because you never gave me any money. Right? They're so ingrained what you got to pay up front or pay monthly. So,
Rondi, I want to tell you, man, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with you, especially. Yeah. I know you're gonna receive a lot of people that not only need your service, but they deserve it. And I'm truly honored and humbled by you allowing us to just be a part of your culture and your model, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys part of it.
For sure.
Affiliate program is going to be awesome. All right, so if there's anything I can do for you guys, you know how to get in touch with me. If you're listening to the show right now or watching it online, you can find me everywhere on social media at Rondy Lambeth. Reach out anytime if you need help with your money, your credit, your taxes. If you want to learn how to turn a couple $100 into a couple 100,000 tax-free, send me a DM. Have a great day.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Ronnie. Have a great day.